and a Knight of the Round Table.
Give points.
We're working on the threshold of resiliency. And on the phone with us this evening is Trina Sulita. Is that how you say your last name?
Yep, Sulita.
Woohoo! Hello and welcome.
I've got some good ones on it.
Thank you so much for joining us this evening.
Thank you for having me.
Not quick. We don't have to do anything quick. Introduce yourself, because we come to know each other because of Ed, who played in March here in the basement before the world said no more people. So you are also a singer-songwriter, and tell us where you're from and how long you've been doing this.
My name is Trina Sulita. Originally, I was born and raised in Addison, which is right outside of Chicago. Moved out to the Rockford area about 2.5, almost 3 years ago now. I've been playing music since I was about 16, so we're looking at about 20 years. But just recently started getting into it a little bit more seriously. Was looking just for places to play to get back into it, because I just like feeling at home in my life, and got connected with Dan Trenton and started playing out like crazy, and I've gotten connected with so many great musicians. It's been a great ride.
So how did you meet Dan? Because we know him too.
It seems like everybody knows Dan, man. Just great guy. I actually posted in a local musicians group just asking, what are great venues for acoustic solo acts. Didn't hear anything on the post for like 2 or 3 days. The only response I ever got was from somebody, God bless them, whoever they were, who just said, get in touch with Dan Trenton. And like that was at the end of August, and since then I've played out more than I've played in my entire life prior to that.
So end of August as in like this past 2019?
Yes.
Okay. So have you ever been in a band, or have you always stuck to singer-songwriter? And you said that's been a 20-year thing.
Yeah, started just kind of a side, just a little hobby for me. Just recently started taking it seriously. Last year, I was actually in the acoustic facet of Baby Ray's, which was an absolute blast. There's 4 of us. There's another guitarist, lead vocalist, percussionist, and myself. And man, we just had so much fun with that. They really expanded my set list and songs that I was willing to challenge myself to play. They really helped me step up.
So is guitar your first instrument, and do you play anything else?
Guitar is probably my main one, especially for playing out live. I do a little bit of keys, a little bit of bass, and a little bit of drums, just enough to finish out the songs that I write for my albums.
So then, are you self-taught on the guitar, or did you take lessons, or how does guitar come to be part of your life?
I just kind of always thought it was cool, played a little bit by ear, and then I got to college, and it was actually with the school's worship team that I got started on it. A couple of friends of mine from choir, and one of the girls who was in it taught me finger-picking patterns, and most of the chords that I know now, I learned from doing that, and then just how to keep a good rhythm, how to sing and play. And then from there, I just kind of played with my music theory background on chord structures and decided to give it a whirl.
So you brought up kind of briefly, you were in college and music theory. So what is your background in?
The first 3 years of college, I actually spent as a music education major. Struggled with music theory 3 and 4. It just didn't quite pan out for me, but ended up staying in the choir, which gave me so many ridiculous opportunities. Susan Moniger is another one of those people, just absolutely loves to see people succeed, love to support them, and just had so many connections, gave us so many opportunities as a choir, and just it kept music going even when I lost it as a major.
So then I was reading through your Reverb Nation. Hold on a second. Through Reverb Nation, I believe the little snippet said that you are a do-it-yourself, you record, master, do all of that sort of thing. So talk to us about that. The music that is available on Reverb Nation, you did all of that yourself.
Yes. It kind of started off, well, I grew up with my mom being in a classic rock cover band. And so like, music was always kind of there. And then when I got old enough, I actually started running sound for them. Ooh. And so I learned a lot about like balance, equalizing, and like how to bring out different sounds like throughout a song. And so when I started looking at putting my own songs together, when I first started, I wasn't originally looking to publish anything. So I just kind of started doing it myself. Got some programs, got some just equipment off of eBay, started recording it. The first few songs that I did, I actually just recorded the drums with a single vocal condenser mic. And like listening to the old recordings, it's kind of cool because it sounds like it's like in a garage band or something. And slowly but surely, as I started to get more serious about it, writing better songs, and I started investing in more equipment and just learning how to do more things with the boards and everything. It's been quite the journey.
So how long did that take you to record from start to finish the things that, like, we played Hands Up the other night, and Gemini's the album, yes?
That one originally is on Gemini. That's an album that I need to finish. Got a couple more songs rolling for that one, but it's also on the album that I released. It's called Sample Platter, which is just kind of a collection of the songs that I'm most proud of so far.
Well,
all together in a collection.
I liked that you got a nice bar feel. Like you had like, people singing and clapping, and, it was it was very radio play friendly. So
thank you.
Was that actually recorded out at a bar, or did you sample it?
It was not.
Wow. Good job.
Yeah, the crowd songs are actually, when I would go out and play an open mic, and just to give myself my own feedback, I'd hit record on my phone, leave it on the table, get up, do my little sets, and then come back down. And so as I'm like moving around and getting set up, my recordings would have all this like ambient bar noise, and I just kind of layered that into it.
Ooh.
I kind of doubled up my voice a couple of times over, and then I actually had my two nephews, my mom and my sister, record the echoing of the Hands Up, and kind of doubled them, did a couple of voice editings, and layered them up to make it sound like it was a crowd.
So back when I was younger, and I would drive around with my dad in the 90s, we would listen to country music, and it very much reminded me of like a country rock anthem.
Yeah.
So, if that's pretty neat to me, the whole layering the ambient bar noise on top of itself. So kudos and hats off to you.
Yeah, that was passion.
So that being said, singer-songwriters so far that we have met, that is in itself an umbrella of a genre, but
yeah.
Everybody, I would say, plays on some other sort of genre or element. And because that song reminded me of country, are you more of a country singer-songwriter? Or how would you describe your fluidity as a musician?
It kind of depends on who I'm listening to the most of the time, but by and large, my songs kind of tend to fall into like either country folk or like a touch of like classic rock on a couple of them. But by and large, it's got that kind of folk sound to it, especially when I do them acoustic.
You had said that it depends on what you're listening to. So, that being said, in Gemini having to be finished, what is it that you're listening to, and what can listeners expect?
Looking for a lot more of a southern rock kind of sound on a couple of songs that are being revamped. Actually have somebody that I've been working with who's been really helping me cement down a lot of parts, but has also kind of took some of my songs and took them in another direction that I absolutely love. So there's going to be some surprises coming out of that one.
So you said southern rock. Give an example so that the listening audience has some sort of picture in their mind. When you say southern rock, you mean?
Kind of almost like a ZZ Top kind of sound.
Ooh.
Where you got like the acoustic and the clean lead.
Oh, that's going to be neat.
Yeah.
How many more songs do you have to record until that album's finished? And do you have a projected release date?
I have 2 songs that pretty much just need to get laid down. And then I have 2 or 3 more songs that I'm just hammering out the arrangements on to figure out exactly how it's going to end up sounding.
So no release date quite yet?
Not quite yet. We'll see what happens with this whole COVID mess and where everything goes.
Yeah, that kind of transitions nicely then into the next point. Being a musician, is music your primary source of income? And if not, how has COVID impacted you as far as, your livelihood or, financially? Some people we know are just musicians, and so this has really kind of been devastating, and they've figured out how to overcome it. So talk to us about your experiences during COVID-19.
Well, music, it's not full-time for me, but it has become a pretty decent source of income. So it has been a bit of a knock, picking up other side gigs, mostly like food delivery, kind of filling those gaps. I work full-time. I do oxygen delivery, mostly portable, to nursing facilities. And so we've kind of had our hours have been down a little bit with most of the residents being locked down. So I'm kind of like in that middle ground where it's not completely devastating, everything falling apart, but there's been an impact to it financially, and musically it's just kind of that feeling of just sitting and waiting, wondering when the next chance to play is going to be, how much to how many new songs to practice, is it going to happen anytime soon, just that uncertainty of it.
Mm-hmm. So that being said, when we're allowed to people again safely, where would you want to play a show?
Man,
and with who? And with who? There you go.
We actually had a show lined up that me and the 2 guys that I was playing with were really excited for. 2 other Unplug the Rock artists, Danny Grams and Chris Lewis, and we had dubbed it Chris and the Gingers, and we had been really excited about that show. So making that happen again with those 2 guys, and just can't wait to get back up on the Whiskey stage. Classic, absolutely classic Rockford venue.
Where is that?
Whiskey's is on Main Street in Rockford. It's basically like the epitome Rockford music venue. Their stage has a backdrop of just a whole bunch of different band t-shirts as a banner. They have this like custom painted old vintage car hood mounted up on there, the smoke machine. The entire staff just absolutely loves the local music scene. Jill Bosselman, I honestly can't think of anybody else who just supports local musicians the way that she does.
So when you play out, singer-songwriter, is it just you playing? Because you said we have fluctuated, we've been fluid in our language here during this conversation, because you've said when you play acoustic. So do you play electric with other people backing you sometimes when you play out, or kind of give us a feel, since we've never done this?
I haven't done I haven't done a full band in a long while, and when I do, I definitely rhythm. But it's kind of come to be we language about playing out, because most of the time, the shows that I'll be playing, it'll be part of the Unplugged the Rock family.
Okay.
And so there'll be 2 or 3 of us that'll be headlining the night. And then like anybody who wants to can come up, can join us. People will come up, add percussion on the song they know, do harmonies, add a lead on. Man, the shows are just like a whole big family event.
All right, this kind of leads me to several parts, so bear with me. You keep saying unplug the rock family, unplug the rock family. Now, I'm aware and familiar, Dan Tritton hosts a festival called Unplug the Rock, which is a fundraiser, correct? In homage and remembrance of his child who is passed, correct?
Very close. One of the events that he hosts is the Toy Drive.
Okay.
That is a big fundraiser. We also have 2. We have a Winter Fest and a Spring Fest that just encapsulates basically everybody who is part of this, the Unplugged the Rock, which is just like the Rockford area acoustic musicians. And it's just, he's built this community for acoustic musicians to kind of connect with each other, build off of each other, and just have this like huge musical family. And it's been everything, getting music back, like live music back into my life.
So how large of a group of people is this? Because now we've met you, we've met Ed, I know Dan, and both you and Ed now have dropped several other names in the Rockford area. And there's almost like a bleed over, because Janesville and Madison have people that play in that troupe as well.
Yeah. Dan seems that he's kind of been expanding up into the Janesville area and trying to really get it out there to be like the entire like Rock River area. Man, like the core of people who probably play out most frequently, I'd have to say there's probably 25 or 30 of us, but in the extent of like the entire group that Dan can call on for pretty much anything that will play in different shows, I'd have to say that there's probably easily 45 or 50 people that have at some point been involved in Unplugged the Rock.
So I'm going to tell you, like I told Ed, and I know that Dan has watched this, and I've told him this as well, but I'll put the bug in your ear again to relay the message that he should come on this show. 1, and 2, it would be neat to see Unplugged the Rock come to like Kenosha and have a group of those core people play at one of the venues in town.
Man, that'd be cool.
Specifically Union Park Tavern, because they have an awesome outside patio. And I think it would be pretty neat to have that in their patio with good beer and, a friendly atmosphere. And there's horseshoes.
Oh, yeah.
Where has been...
Oh, yeah.
So, how have you adapted, changed, overcome during the whole safer at home, which I'd like to say, by the way, does not infringe on anybody's fucking rights. No one's imprisoning you. You didn't lose anything. You had all of your same privileges. In fact, just adapted to a more comfortable lifestyle. You didn't have to leave anywhere, and all of your goods and services could still come to your fucking house. So before we start yelling that people are Hitler, shut the fuck up. It was for consideration so people didn't die. Anyways, I digress. You may answer the question.
Honestly, like that's, even with it opening up, like if I have prior obligations, I will see them through, but I'm being really cautious about booking anything anytime, probably before the end of July, just because I very much so support to like stay at home and social distancing. And like if I know that a bar is going to enforce that and make sure that the people that are there are safe, make sure that I'm safe, I'd be all for it. But by and large, yeah, I'm not interested in losing my voice. But in the meantime, it's been kind of cool tapping into live streaming because I feel like that's, I guess, for lack of better words, a service through Facebook that we kind of tend to underestimate in reaching fans that aren't physically local to be able to still technically, see us perform live. And I've just seen so many of them popping up and people reaching fans that they never reached before just from people sharing, saying, wanting to hear live music. So it's been an interesting adaptation that I kind of like, and I'll probably consider continuing it of just live streaming if there's a gap between shows just to keep things rolling.
So before this shut down, how often were you playing out? Because you said you've been the busiest you've ever been, August till present, which I'm going to say is probably March. But how often were you playing out, and what did your schedule look like? Where were you playing?
Anywhere between 2 to, I think the highest I went was 7 shows in 1 month. I had one weekend where I actually had 3 shows. Mostly local. Whiskey's was a great place. Did some at Crazy Times, Neighbors, Shooters. Both of the Shooters locations have been great to us. I'm so bad with directions. I think it's Shooters North, the one that's on Forest Hills. They have every Friday, they have a slot available that they reserve for Unplug the Rock of rotating people for it. They absolutely love local music and just kind of bouncing all over the place. We also have Hidden Treasures, which is it's kind of like a flea market meets a garage sale. Ooh. Coolest place to get the coolest random things. People set up booths there, and then you can bring it to the cashier. They absolutely love having us here. They supported us for Christmas. We have one coming up towards the end of the fall that we'll be doing a show for their parking lot sale. It's all kinds of venues. It's been a wild ride.
But you've stayed local. You haven't gone and traveled elsewhere to go play?
By and large, I've done Beloit was about the farthest north, but then I did do one show out in Foreston, which is about an hour west.
What is your goal, I guess, as far as, shows and gigging and that sort of thing? Do you want to expand your reach? Are you thinking eventually, if ever you do a tour, or are you comfortable just kind of staying local and doing that?
I honestly would love to get some shows going, back out, in the Chicago suburbs and kind of north, because, that's where I grew up. I wasn't really playing out when I was still living there, and so, I have a lot of friends in that area who just said, when are you playing next? And then it turned out, they'll be working the next day, and coming out to Rockford and back is a little bit brutal. So to be able to do something local to my old stomping grounds would be really cool.
When you are playing shows, are they all Unplug the Rock, so it's all kind of acoustic all night long, or do you play any mixed genre performances?
I've had a couple of shows where I opened up for a full band, but my set list kind of goes all over the place. When I start throwing in covers of pop, country, classic rock, a little bit of harder rock, and then sometimes we'll just throw back to a couple of big band songs here and there.
Wow. That's cool. Are you going to play any of those on, the next hour where we're watching you play? Any big band? Are you going to do any big band?
How does that not sound?
I'm not prepared for this question. No. So I guess I asked that question because my view of Rockford is that it's all of you, the majority of the music scene is all Unplug the Rock folk. I can't name another band that I know that's a full band out of Rockford. Do you? Can you?
I could name one, but it's from 25 years ago.
How, okay.
Well, we have a lot of the people who are in Unplug the Rock family do have full bands that do like electric songs. Like one of them, the one that is all Unplug the Rock part of Dan is the OGMC, and they play, invite anybody who wants to come up can come join them for songs. There's also, man, we have Savage Phil, Baby Ray's, Solar. Oh man, I'm blanking. I got put on the spot and I'm blanking on it. I know Danny Graham has a full band, and I'm so sorry for getting the name of it, forgetting it. There's Austin has a band that's called Good Karma that also features Ben Medina. I mean, a lot of our guys have full bands that are like really some pretty badass rock, and a couple of guys that kind of play on and off. Actually, there's some metal bands in the mix too.
Yeah, Having Kittens. Where are they from? So, okay, this is an easier part of that question. Is an overwhelming majority of the bands that play rock bands, and do they play their own original music? Do you have any ska? Do you have any punk? Do you have any like hip hop or R&B? Like, what's the makeup of the music scene of Rockford? Or you guys just came in, took over, made a whole bunch of other bands, and it's just really...
I know there's a pretty decent like DJ and rap scene. I'm not particularly familiar with that, but I know Rockford has a pretty big metal scene that includes originals. A lot of them you can catch a page called We Rock. They kind of capture everybody in like the Jamesville to Rockford area, like the metal bands, a lot of original ones. I'm not quite too familiar with them offhand, but I know Pushover has released a couple of albums that really slap.
So do you go out and see other bands when you're not performing?
As much as I can, yeah.
Would you say that Rockford is just a close-knit community of... It kind of just sounds like Dan took over. Like,
honestly, Rockford it's a real undiscovered gem of a music scene. I mean, I was out here for 2 years before I even realized there was a music scene, just because I didn't know where to look. But it's like once you get folded into it, you're just like, oh my gosh, pretty much every bar every weekend seems to have some kind of live band playing. Like it's everywhere. But it's like almost pseudo underground.
I have to hold my hand. So you said that it took you almost 2 years to find the underground music scene. How did you come to find them? And how is music advertised? How would people know how to find music in Rockford?
Honestly, if you go into pretty much any bar, they'll have like the posters up. All of the local bars are really good at promoting it. I'm just was not really great at walking into a bar by myself.
Me neither.
So I actually got started with it by doing a karaoke competition that introduced me to a couple of the local musicians, and then started following their music, and then started seeing like how much they were playing on. I'm like, wow, I didn't know that there was all these locations that like have live music all the time. And yeah, it's actually huge out here.
So you actually you have to live there. You have to go into local spaces to find the info. How about as far as any sort of internet presence? If I go to try to find, an up-and-coming Rockford Dan Tritton Unplugged the Rock star, how would I connect with that?
Honestly, probably, at least as far as I know, the best two resources would be the main Unplugged the Rock page, because Dan covers pretty much everybody who's playing out. And then if you want to get more into like the heavy rock metal, it would be We Rock, which is like WI for Wisconsin Rock. The entire page is dedicated to just sharing local shows.
Huh. So then how about when you are on a bill, is there discussion? Like, is there an artist who puts together the flyer? Do you put the flyer together? Like, how does that work? Is there communication and support to promote? Or does one person throw the show together and we just assume that they're responsible for promoting it?
It usually kind of depends on like who's playing together and where it is. Certain venues will do the poster for us. For some places, we'll just kind of like message with each other and be like, hey, I got the poster on this, or do you want me to make it? Hey, can you make it on it? And just kind of, just figuring it out between ourselves.
How about how many albums do you have? Let's start there.
Completed 2.
Okay.
Actually released 1.
And artwork. Who did the artwork for that?
Yeah, it was me.
Okay. Do you have merchandise?
Right now I mostly have the CDs that are $10, and now I just got printed up some guitar picks that I'm going to start listing soon.
Cool.
Chances are those are probably going to be some pass-around giveaways.
So did you, so if I go to purchase this album, did you make that whole thing? You did the art, you're putting it together, or did you go through a distributor to have CDs made so that you could sell them?
For the physical CD, I just had it done through Atomic Disc to just print up the artworks that I gave them and just burn the songs that I had. And then they sent it back to me. And then for it being available through like iTunes and Pandora and that, I just did one of those online where you have a monthly subscription and they post it for you.
A monthly subscription? Who did
Yeah.
So like CD Baby, DistroKid, Orchard Music, TuneCore, what the hell did you use?
Yeah, one of those kinds of things where it's just like, you give them like a little subscription. They basically are just kind of agent and then post the stuff for you.
So, because I'm a snob, why did you go through that instead of doing that, that portion of things yourself?
Because I had no idea how to do any of that.
Okay. So, does Dan... Because I feel if he's going to take over a whole area, he's also got to help people maintain their rights and royalties, damn it. So, you sent us Reverb Nation, and you're on Apple Music. Those were the 2 links you sent us.
Yeah.
Are you on Bandcamp?
I'm not. I hate to say it. I've heard of it, but I'm not particularly familiar with what it is.
Trina! Okay.
It's not like I'm not great on the business aspect of it. It's kind of more for fun that I can do something with.
So Bandcamp is a wonderful free platform that allows musicians to post and make revenue off of their wares. So it's totally free. You just upload your music onto this site and then boom, you can set up your profile as a musician to release blogs if you want. Electronic press kits can be included in that. You can set up like pre-sale orders for an upcoming album. So say you were going to release something in 2 years or whatever, and you wanted to make a big push before it, you could set up scheduled posts so that say in October of 1 year and then October of the next year before it was released, here buy this album, this is the quantity that's going to be made. You can link it to all of your other social media. And so, my friend...
Also SoundCloud is free.
And SoundCloud. SoundCloud is also free. So
SoundCloud I do have.
good. Where can people find you?
The easiest way is probably through Facebook, and then the music sales would be through iTunes.
Okay, but you're on Facebook, you're on iTunes. Do you have a YouTube channel?
I do. I'm blanking on what the username for it is. It's EMT Sulita.
So your name is your moniker as far as your band or performance goes, yes?
Oh, yeah.
So why did you decide to brand yourself instead of come up with some sort of other name?
Well, I just figured it's me doing my music. I'm just going to stick with my name.
That sounds pretty good. I mean, that's a good reason. I know that some people are weird about it, and they have to have a stage name, and they have to have all of this stuff. So,
I did go through that phase in high school where I was like, oh my god, that's so weird. But then I was like, you know what? No, like I'm the one who's like doing this. Like it's my heart into all of these songs. Like, yeah, let my name stand with it.
good. So, what was the last show you played before COVID prevented people from enjoying live music?
Oh my gosh. Threw me for a loop on that one.
That's what we do here at the show. We ask hard questions to make everyone go, I don't know why she asked
Like
me
when
that.
like everything blurred together, like what happened. What was it? Oh, it was Firehouse. And I think it's Roscoe? I think right over in Roscoe. It was a good little time. It was just as they were announcing, the 25-person limit. Played with Kelsey Miles for the first time. She was like looping things and throwing harmonica solos on it. Like, we had one heck of a sending out party, and then it was just like, all right, that's it, bye.
Wow. So with, the hopes that we will be able to safely, play live soon, you will have to let us know when you start performing again. But I know that folks can catch you in about 10 minutes-ish. So tell us what, the next hour you have prepared. What can folks expect? Because I have to say, I'm intrigued. You're like, it's a completely new set. No one's heard this stuff.
It's going to be acoustic versions of like all original songs, and just a lot of the songs I don't frequently play out, just because some of them are a little bit more mellow. But just for people who have actually seen me play out live, a lot of them haven't heard them, and a couple of the songs have not actually been recorded yet.
Ooh.
So they're not available. So a lot of songs that most people have never heard before.
Completely, you heard it here first. Make sure to tune in through the event to catch her, Trina Sulita, play a completely new set that no one's ever heard,
Right.
which is wonderful.
Oh yeah, some favorites, some newbies.
So what we've told everybody so far in the last, I would say, 2 months, April, May, that we've been doing this is that we plan, I guess, to open back up July 9th as far as our venue goes. So for those who were scheduled, such as yourself, if you would like to come and actually play another set, live in our basement, you're more than welcome to do so. We'll be releasing those dates soon. So, as far as wanting to play out anywhere that, is not Rockford, I guess, let us know what we can do to help connect you other places, because it's kind of, we're a one-stop shop for that sort of thing as well. So
That's fantastic.
in closing, because we have I can't believe it, but you know, we spent time playing around with sound. The top of the hour. Tell us in closing, what would you like people to know? Do you have gracious words to impart upon us? What is it, you know, you'd like to say in closing?
Just, man, I have a lot of really great people in my life who have supported me and just so many things. So just everybody who has been a part of this in any way, shape, or form, just you are such a blessing in my life.
Do you want to name names? Do you want to give shout-outs? Do you want to say thank you, too?
Well, I mean, I would say I got to start with my parents, who, when I first started recording, had to deal with their basement being turned into a recording studio, and just, like, my mom getting me started on music, my girlfriend bringing it back into my life, and just being the person who kind of made me relook at my songs as actually being recordable and shareable. And then, of course, Dan and everybody in the UTR family and the bartenders that keep us going.
Again, this is Trina Sulita, and she will be performing through the event page in just a few minutes, so you can catch her set. She is from Rockford, Illinois. You can find her on Facebook, Reverb Nation, iTunes, SoundCloud, YouTube, and here on Just the Ska Kid. Trina, thank you so very much for joining us this evening.
Thank you.
And without further ado, my dear, I will let you go so that you can go get set up. And I look forward to watching your performance.
All right, thank you.
I hope to meet you in the maybe not so distant future, hopefully, fingers crossed.
Yeah, with Matt.
Thank you and have a good evening.
You too.
Bye.
Bye.
So that was Trina. Again, you can catch her in just a few minutes. We're letting her go so she can go get set up through the event page that is on our page. You can catch her. We will be sharing that video out and about, so it will be posted on our page as well. But make sure to tune in and watch. She's going to do a completely new set that no one's ever heard before. So without further ado, we will leave you this evening. Make sure to watch for the video. And if not, and you just want to hear us talk, catch us Tuesday, where we'll have a sneak peek of Thursday, where Bad Year will be joining us. Okay?
Thanks.
It's so funny, their name is appropriate.
Bad year.